Hi, welcome,
Okay,
welcome.
sorry.
It's all good.
All
Go
right.
for it.
So we wanted to talk about power of attorney. And
Mhm.
it is power of attorney which has given this government, the agencies, everything that has gone before, the ability to contract in our names without our knowledge. It's a power of attorney, which is that's part of the process. That's part of what our mother gave away when she abandoned us and contracted with the state. What happens from that point on has been the de facto and all of their policy enforcement officers. That's all the agents of the Board of Health. That's the town treasurer for in the town you live. That's the state. That's Department of Children and Families. That's the Department of Revenue. It's police. It's everyone. They can assume that you are under their rule because they have the ability to enter into contracts in your name without your knowledge. Do people ever wonder why it's assumed that when the town sends you a property tax bill, it's assumed that you have to pay it, and that if you don't pay it, their goal will ultimately be to take your property from you? Well, where does that assumption come from? The assumption comes from the power of attorney that they have to enter into contracts in your name that you are not aware of. Now, the town excise tax as well. And also because you gave up the right for your car essentially by the registration process. So that adds an extra layer to that. But people need to understand that it is the power of attorney that we have given away without our knowledge that now is being held by all of these officers. Because remember, these officers are all agents of the corporations who have who we have been abandoned to, who essentially own us, who control us, and they can tell us what to do. And part of that responsibility of administering our estate is the ability to enter into contracts in our name. We don't need to know about it. And that is why it's assumed. And police officers don't necessarily realize this, but when they're pulling somebody over and they are entering into a contract, the fact that they even put a ticket in your hand is it rests upon them having legal power of attorney to assume that you will contract with them, that you will comply. And so all of it, this is it's a very deep subject that people really
It's
need.
hideous.
It is. And it's hard to really like it's not just, oh, it's cut and dry. It's a framework.
Mhm.
And part of the
It's a
power
frame
of attorney.
it's a framework, but it's also I don't want people to think that we're implying that all of the agents that work for the corporation even realize they're agents that are working for a
They
corporate.
don't. No, they don't, but they assume that they have the right to administer and
Yeah,
that we will comply. It is
yeah.
the assumption that whatever they decree, whatever they put on us, we must accept.
The assumption is that the matrix is real.
Yes. And that they have the right to
Mhm,
control us. They have
mhm.
the right to expect that we are going to agree, that we are going to take their fine, that we are going to pay it, that we are going to show up in their courts, that we are going to do all these things when the state decides we're going to charge everybody $25 to dig a hole on their property. You have to go get a permit if you want to do that. The assumption is that they have the right to force that contract and force us to agree to it. And so it really is an energy. The power of attorney, if you think about it from an energetic perspective, it is that is really the energy behind it. And so I've gone into this a lot when I talk about the power of the police state and the police enforcement. You know, where is that hostility coming from? It's an energy. And so, and it all comes down to sovereignty because of the, whether you know it or not, because people have gone along with it. People have Oh, I recognize your authority, Mr. Town Treasurer, and I recognize your right to charge me for this thing.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
recognize the state.
as simple as an officer saying, "Do you understand?" When you say yes, you are saying you stand under them. It's word magic. It's spell
It is, and because most people who are not state nationals are under them, and they have power of attorney, that is what gives that is what gives them the assumption that they can even address us with that question. So think about it. It's Of course, it's a lot more complicated than this, and I just wanted to give that as an example, but
So
that whole
power of attorney is part of the paperwork that you take in the paperwork that you do to get yourself out of their contract, out of their jurisdiction, onto land and soil. Reclaiming power of attorney is one of the pieces of paperwork that we do.
Right, right, because we are explicitly stating we are taking back our power of attorney from wherever it has been explicitly or implicitly taken.
Mhm.
It is ours. We recognize it as this is our right. We do not give it away to anyone. We take it back for ourselves. That's one of the many pieces of paperwork. And when I say many, it's for a lot of people think it's many. But the reality is that back in the day, years ago, when Anna first started doing her work, her process involved many, 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 many pieces of paper. And now there really aren't a lot. There are concise, hard hitting pieces that you do need to really clarify, such as there are other documents in here. Where power of attorney is just one. We will go into the other ones, but each document really clarifies a concept, and it references whatever trespass has been taken to take away your power by explicitly claiming that back. And there are many areas of life which we have essentially been controlled. And so we need to reclaim each and every part of that, which is again, it goes into the many layers.
Yeah. Um, is that all you want to say about power of attorney for now?
I think so. I think
Sure.
that's enough.
Okay.
All right.
So give us a like, share our video. If you have any questions, ask them below and we will make every attempt to answer them. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.